Hello, we are now going to go to step one and learn how to study smart to know. In knowing, we need to take note of what is the coverage of the examination. So, firstly, we are able to know now, we ask ourselves, and then we have to ask, and then we have to list, and who is the proper person to go to. So, that is your teacher. You ask the teacher in order to know what is the coverage and then list it down. Upon knowing the coverage, you have to list down the topics included in the test. Next step is you open your textbook, check, and then take a paper. You must write it down. And then as you open the book, you are able to find out. So, like for example, topic 1 will be sales, topic 2 will be movement of substances, topic 3 will be nutrients, topic 4 will be enzyme. After writing it down, you go to your textbook. You have to take note. It's a vast of knowledge, isn't it? It's so wide. We need to chunk down because our mind can only sustain a small amount of time in order that we can absorb what we learn. So this is to divide the topics into chunks or bits. So it says chunk bites. So you have to be able to take note. Oh, through this you are able to see that in chapter 2 you have cell structure and organization. You have specialized cell tissues, organs, and system. But you have to go through what is in the cell structure and organization. So here is an example. So cell structure and organization, you have four under that you need to understand. Imagining cells as chemical factories, how can we study the parts of the cell, what does a cell consist of, we have the living, and how about the cell wall. You need to know what the cell wall is and what are the parts of the cytoplasm. And in the cytoplasm, you are able to see that there are tiny structures in the cytoplasms. And these structures can either be rough endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, chloroplast, and vacuole. After knowing that all, you can be able to differentiate plant from an animal cell. Is the specialized cells, tissues, organs, and systems. So you are introduced to the word differentiation, and under which how can cell structure related to cell functions. So you are now going into the specialized cells like red blood cells, xylem vessels, root hair cells. And how do cells work together in a multicellular organism? So here we can find out that there are two kinds of living things or organism, the single cell or the unicellular and the multicellular organism. And a multicellular organism is divided in such a way it is structured from cell to tissues to organ system and organism, as it is called a multicellular organism. It's a living thing now. So our list, we're able to know that there are knowledge and there are concepts that we need to learn. So knowledge are facts, information, skills acquired through experience or education. These are the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. So in every examination, you have to know the facts. So you have the MCQ, you have the fill in the blanks, you have to make sure it is true. Is it the statement is true or the statement is false? And then there are parts that you have to identify. And after identifying, you have to know its functions and you need to relate it to another structure as they are given in every examination. And through that, you have an idea or concepts. These are the abilities that make up the fundamental building blocks of thoughts and beliefs. So this can be when you think about what you have learned, the knowledge will build into a concept or idea. So an example here is to know. So in this chapter, I need to know about the cell and the protoplasm. So I will note it down now that cell is a basic unit of life, so I write it. Then protoplasm. This is the living material in the cell, and this living material in the cells are made up of cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. After the listing, we will now be able to map our journey. So this is mapping your journey. So through this, you are going to take notes. You are just following this template. Like for example, in chapter 2, you have cell structure and organization. And then you have these things to study, like imagining cells as kind of factories. How can we study the parts of the cell? What does a cell consist of? Protoplasm and then the cell wall. What are the parts of the cytoplasm? You have the organelles, and when you know the organelles, you can be able to differentiate between plant and animal cell. So these are the the things that you need to learn. What is important here is that you are able to tick or to say in process. So you are going to place done if you're done with one, then you go to the next, then to the next, until you reach one of the chapters so that you can celebrate. That is mapping your journey. That is the end of step one, to know. And the last word from me is that I have seen this in the internet and I would just like to share to you. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So this is Teacher Jeffrey. See you to the next step, step 2.